What's good, YouTube? Hope y'all doing well. So in this video, I'm gonna show y'all, hopefully convince y'all that 90s R&B samples are the best samples that you can flip for modern hip hop beats. Honestly, the video is pretty much just that. I'm gonna just pull up a couple samples, flip them for y'all, kind of show y'all the process behind it. So I think that's enough said, let's just jump right into it. So the first song that I have pulled up is You Used to Love Me by Faith Evans. This song has like a specific section in it that I want to sample, but I'll kind of explain the thought process behind sampling before we get too much into the details of things. Kind of the basic step-by-step with sampling is the first thing you want to do is find the tempo. Second thing is find your chops. Third thing is to time stretch it, then add some effects. Once you've done all that, then you can throw your drums, other melodies and all that on it. But I'll be really focused in on how you actually sample in this video because I've been getting a lot of comments on that and a lot of people in my chat on streams that have been asking me how to sample, how do I do things like that. So I figured I'd make it kind of comprehensive while also just, you know, having fun and showing some of my favorite things to sample. First thing is I want to find the tempo, and ideally you want to find a section of the song that has drums. So this one already has drums at the beginning, so we'll just go ahead and play it. So I already kind of have a feel of what the tempo might be just by listening on that. So there's a couple ways you can find it. The easiest way is probably just to go to a website like TuneBat. You can just look up the song here and figure it out. So for this song, it says it's 89 BPM. It also gives you the key, C major. Only problem with this is sometimes the BPM isn't quite accurate. It might be a few off, and a good number of times the key isn't necessarily correct either. So just be aware of that. Another way you can find it in FL without having to manually look for it is just clicking on the top left and then hitting detect tempo. So we know it's somewhere like in that, you know, 75 to 150 range. So I'm gonna click that and it says the tempo is 89 beats per minute. So it's pretty close. I personally like to do it this way because a lot of music, especially before the 2000s and before the 90s, was not recorded using digital drums or digital backing tracks. So a lot of the times, like the actual instruments that they played in are slightly off beat, or they'll switch the tempo in the middle of the song. So it's probably just more useful to listen to it yourself and figure out what the tempo is. And it's also just a good skill to have. So anyways, I've showed you the other two methods. I'll show you the method that I like to use, which uses your own sense of rhythm to figure out the tempo. So I've showed this in a bunch of videos already, but I'll just go through it again. So you go to the tempo, right click on it, and you click tap. And then in the middle here, you can click any key on your computer's keyboard that corresponds with a MIDI note, or you could just left click or whatever. I like to just use a key on the keyboard and tap it in. So I'm gonna go ahead and just play it. And what I wanna do is either every second and fourth tap, a snare hits, or every third tap a snare hits. So it'll kind of make sense. I'll do both. I'll do the first one where on every other hit there will be a snare. So I got pretty close with 90 here, and I'll go ahead and do it in double time too. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, and on the 1, 2, 3, 4, and when I hit the third one, the snare will hit. So I ended up with the same thing. It's just 90 times 2. So originally had 90, now I have 180. Honestly, it doesn't matter, but if you just look at it with a metronome, all the snares line up for the most part. It's probably a little fast. So their original estimate of 89 was more accurate. Sometimes your ear's a little more accurate for the samples, but I figured I'd just show all the different methods for this video. Like if we have it on 89, it's a little bit off. This is 178, but basically the same thing. So this one is just slightly off. That's not really going to be a problem. We'll fix that a little bit later down the road. We could also use the auto detect thing that FL does, but I feel like that's not a crutch that you should have to rely on all the time. So I'm just gonna do it my way. You can use the auto detect and be done with it if you really need to do it, but I figured this way works for things that aren't perfectly on grid, so I figured I might as well show that. Anyways, I think that's enough yapping. Let's get into actually finding the chops. So in my opinion, the easiest way to figure out or to find good chops is to look at the intro of a song, the hook, or one of the bridges. Usually the verses have too much vocals or too much going on to where you can actually sample it really well. Sometimes you can, but it requires you to kind of chop things up. The easiest way to do it, in my opinion, is usually the hooks or the intro. Usually the bridges in 90s R&B beats, at least some of the ones that I like, have kind of a switch up from the original beat in terms of what the vocal melody sounds like, or even the instrumental as a whole. So for this specific beat, I already know what my chop is because I've heard it before a few times. I'll just go through and just kind of show y'all what the process would look like, and then I'll actually get to the chopping part of things. So we've got like the hook part here. We can sample this. So right, we have our verse here. So I mean, this is cool, the verse, but we want to use something like a hook. But the thing that I want to sample in this song is actually the bridge, which I think is around here somewhere. And it goes back into a hook. I'm just gonna go ahead and chop it on the first transient, or basically the first kick drum of the bridge here. So right here, just take a little slice tool. I'm gonna take this and move it to the nearest measure line right there. And I'm just gonna cut it at the end of the bridge. So since we're already in the ballpark for the tempo, I can assume it's gonna be at the 8 measure or the 16 measure mark, or if you were in normal time, like if this was 89 beats per minute instead of 178, you would assume it's about four measures or 8 measures. So let's just look at this mark right here. So it wasn't the 8 measure mark. Looking like it's about 16 measures, so from 73 to 89. And we want to cut right where the first transient of the kick is, right here, for the chorus. And then we're gonna take this, move it to the side. So like I said earlier, our chops are not going to be perfect because the tempo's not perfectly whatever they recorded it at. And for the most part, if you're gonna use like a 90 sample that has electronic production or beats that were not played in by hand, whatever, you can pretty much just time stretch it to what you need to, and the drums will usually line up. Honestly, I don't think it's that important because we're going to end up taking the drums out with a stem extractor anyways. But for the sake of being consistent and just having a better sample and an easier time sampling, I'm just going to go ahead and we have something that's about 16 measures and it's just a little bit short. So I'm going to go up to the top left here and click stretch audio and just stretch it right here. And now we can see that pretty much all these drums line up. Maybe they might be a little bit off, but for the most part, they line up with the grid lines how they're supposed to, with the kicks hitting on the first beat, snares hitting on the third beat, etc., etc. So let's listen to it with the metronome now. Sounds pretty close to what the actual tempo is. I think just for the sake of having it, I'll also take this chorus right after the bridge here. So we pretty much have our whole chop right here. Honestly, I could probably just move the whole thing like this because I'm going to stem extract it in a second. You'll see why I did that. So we have our whole sample chop, right? We don't got to do too much chopping up. This is why I really love R&B samples, because it's really easy to find the tempo of them. It's really easy to find the chops, and it's third, which is what I'm going to show y'all right now. It's really easy for the computer to split the stems too. Click the top left of this right here and go to extract stems from sample. And I'm going to extract everything except for the drums because I don't want the drums. I'm going to add my own. So I'm going to take the bass, vocals, and instruments, just hit extract. All right, so now we have both of the parts, but with the stems extracted now. So I'm going to take all these 3 audio clips in the channel rec, and I'm going to go to the mixer track and hit Control-Shift-L. And now the vocals, bass, and the instruments all have their own mixer track. And the reason why I ended up extracting it all together is because 1, I already time stretched it so the transients lined up. 2, being that I didn't have like 6 different audio clips instead of 3. All I have to do to get the 2 different parts is just slice it down the middle like that, and I'm done. So right here, I have my original sample and the hook. Now I think here comes the fun part, which I forgot to do this earlier. You want to go to the mode on all these, change it to stretch, and move it back to resample. Scroll wheel down 1, stretch, scroll it back up, resample. Or if you want to click it, go to stretch, then resample. I'll do it on the last one, resample, go to stretch, back to resample. And so basically what we're gonna do here is turn on the metronome, and we're just gonna increase it to the point where we can add drums to it. So let's go ahead and increase this probably to, I don't know, we got 178. I think at most I wanna move this up to is 190. Alright, I lied. 198 sounds really good. So you know what I'm actually gonna do? Is just for the sake of adding drums, I'm gonna take these, turn the stretch on, and shorten it to half the length. I know I'm doing quite a bit, but just stick with me here. And so now that we've shrunk it by half, I'm also going to reduce the tempo by half. So we have 198, half of that is 99. So we go 99 beats per minute, hit the little check mark. So our sample shouldn't change in pitch at all. Same thing. I want to find the closest key to what it is right now, because right now it's not perfectly on a key because we've just shifted it up a certain percentage in tempo. So we've basically just sped up the sample by a certain amount. It's almost like if you're playing a vinyl record or like a cassette and you just sped up how fast the music was playing. So what you want to do is go to stretch, and then we're just going to adjust this pitch knob and move back and forth between stretch and resample until we get something that's really close. So resample, we'll just listen to it again for reference. So we'll go to stretch. So plus 200. 300's too high. 200 sounds pretty close. If we move back to resample, back to stretch, it's pretty close. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to this pitch here, right click on it, and either click copy or just hit C on my keyboard and go and paste it on the bass and the vocals. So just right click, hit paste, or hit V. Also remember to change these to stretch beforehand, otherwise it'll end up switching to auto. So change to stretch and then control V. So I'm gonna go ahead onto the vocals and throw down a little EQ on it. Nothing too crazy because I don't want to take too much from the vocals here, at least not yet. On the instruments, I just want to cut some of these kind of muddier frequencies, so to speak, because we're gonna add some pretty loud drums, just so it sounds smoother later in the mix. We'll roll the lows off too while we're at it. Leave a ton of rooms for our kicks and the 808s. We've pretty much gone through all the sampling at this point. We found the tempo, we found our chops, we time stretched it. All we really got to do is add drums to it. So let's go ahead and grab some drums. I'm gonna grab some stuff from my resonance kit and ignite kit. I think the first thing I want to do is actually add a bass. So I'm gonna go to the ignite multi kit, go to the one shots. Probably grab this modified Reese bass that I like to use, and we'll just kind of figure out the bass notes here. Since we already have the bass isolated, I think what I'm gonna do is just get kind of a gist of what they're playing with their bass notes and just copy that for mine for now. So pretty much this is the same progression back and forth. I'm not going to be picking up those intermediate bass notes because they're playing bass guitar, it just sounds a lot smoother. So I pretty much just have like the main notes that ring out, which is C, B, E, and G. Just looking at this, if I had to guess, it looks like it's in E minor, but I don't know for sure. Also, I need to pitch everything down one octave here, just these, because the G note dropped an octave would be too low. You know, I think I might actually grab this little pluck bass instead. That's not what's gonna be my final drums. I'm gonna just keep that just on the side. But for drums, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a little snap. Something like this. And I'll put this on the second and fourth beat of each measure here. So if we look at the channel view, it looks like that. I think I'll switch it up on every 8th snap. I'll go ahead and put this other snap just to kind of switch it up. Actually, I'll put it on the 4th. And I'll put this little roll slap on the end here. So, nice and clean. Let's add our shaker. Alright, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add the 808 just for now, because that's the one that I want to use. And I think I'll go ahead and use this hi-hat right here. And I'm gonna just do fill each 2 steps, open up the piano roll, hit Control C, Control V. So we'll get these like 1-step hi-hats. And what I want to do is hold Alt and scroll down. So we have kind of a little bit of a bounce here with the hi-hats. And if you want to add just some more bounce to it, you can change these to have different velocities like this. Just something like that. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you know, just do something like this. Repeat it for the whole thing. Put it together. What we got so far. All right, let's go ahead and add these little 808s to it. We're just gonna copy the bass note from the other patterns we already have. Just keep it real simple. And then we'll just add some chops, add some notes to it. You can turn the velocity up a little bit on these. Alright, you know what? As a matter of fact, I'm gonna change the snap sound to a clap. I feel like it's just not hitting hard enough, so I'm gonna switch it to this clap folded. And we can add some open hats with this one. Add another open hat to this. We'll add this little perk, this rim to it. We'll add this little zap too at the end. So let's route all these to a mixer track, and let's go ahead and start mixing the drums a little bit. Honestly, I don't think I'm gonna really keep much of this little second part here. I think I'm gonna just keep the first. We'll just keep the vocals extend a little bit. I want to add an alternate 808 pattern because I think I'm just getting kind of sick and tired of hearing the same thing over and over again. The main difference, I think we're going to keep most of the notes the same. We just might change some of the end notes up a little bit. So I think for this first part, what I'll probably end up doing is shifting all this to the right a little bit. And then just for the first part, we'll have the little plucky bass. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and just mix this. I don't think I'm really gonna arrange it because I'm gonna do one more beat after this, but that's kind of the gist for the most part. The second beat, I'm not gonna talk as much. I'm just gonna cook it up and just be done with it. But I'll go ahead and mix this real quick, and then we'll move on to the next beat.
Roll up, Tess.
So moving on to the next song, this is Give Me Your Lovin' by Ubi. And if you say that the song just came out, which technically it did release recently, I did do a little bit of research. The original song was written and recorded in the late 90s, so technically this is a 90s sample. Even if it isn't, if you don't want to consider it that, then it still has that 90s sound to it, so I'm just going to roll with it. Like I said with the last one, we're going to go with the same sampling strategy of looking at the intro, the chorus, and the bridge. From my knowledge, there isn't really a bridge in this song, from what I remember. We're pretty much just gonna look at the intro and the chorus, which are pretty much the same thing. Pretty much what I'm saying is we're just gonna sample the chorus on this song, which happens to also be the intro. So let's snag it right here at the beginning with the kick. So let's find the tempo first. Hit tap, do this. Some like I think 136 probably sounds right. Transients look about right, about 136. We'll call it 136 for now and figure out the time stretching later. Yeah, so we're just gonna take the first 16 measures here, like you already have, and we'll time stretch it so that it fits exactly 16 measures. And if you want to figure out how to do this, like so it doesn't snap to the grids like this, you hold down the Alt key and then you click and drag. So it sounds like it's on time now with the metronome. Go hit extract stems from sample. All I want is the bass, vocals, and instruments. So we got all these three right here. And the only thing I'm really going to use the bass for is maybe for the intro, and just to figure out what the bass notes are. So let's just take all these and route them to their own mixer tracks. And let's figure out how fast we want to make this. So let's go. We might be able to do like a West Coast beat damn near. I think I might actually do that instead. I'm gonna take all this and shrink it to half its length, and then move it down to 80 beats per minute. I think around like 90 beats per minute. Let me go 92. That's too high, honestly. I think I'm gonna just leave it at +3. And move that to all the other ones. Change them to stretch, of course. This one I'll use like the snaps and stuff. I think it fits it better. So we'll go back to the Ignite kit, grab the snap. The other two snaps.
He like a hi-hat guy, kind of.
Throw down a kick. I think I'm gonna grab one for the resonance kit. think that's cool. Let's add some openets. I think just grab that zap again. I might want to grab like a cowbell or something like that. All we need now is the bass or 808. I think we just grabbed this little 808 here. So it just seems like it stays on. So let's bring everything back in. I feel like I want to change the bass notes to something else. Alright, I think on second thought, I'm actually going to change the 808 to something else. I'll go to the resonance kit here, grab the prayer one I like to use quite a bit. Just keep the 808 super simple because we're already doing a bunch with the rest of the drums. I mean, you've probably got like 10 drum sounds total, to be honest. So that's a little overkill in my opinion for most beats, but I just wanted to make something that was fun. So let's get this arranged real quick and we can do the outro and we'll be up and out of here.
Roll up, Tess.